tasked with assembling an elite team to travel through time. All your worlds are about to change.
Hey guys, Nick here, and welcome back to another Legend of Tomorrow episode review. My thoughts on tonight's episode of Legend of Tomorrow, titled Leviathan. And you guys might notice, I'm not doing a video review of this episode. I'm not feeling too well, and I wanted to get this review out, but I just didn't want to have to deal with my camera and stuff. So here I am doing my first audio review on my channel. So just to get into my thoughts on tonight's episode of Legend of Tomorrow, this episode, I had some fun with it for the most part. I mean, this show, the one thing that I've noticed about it is that we'll have an episode like last week's episode, which I thought was one of the better episodes of the season, and then you'll get an episode the following week, and I think most shows do this too. You'll have one great episode, but then the following episode, it's like, they kind of fall off the rails a little bit. I mean, it wasn't a bad episode. There were just things in this episode that kind of bothered me, and I'm just gonna go ahead and get that stuff out of the way. Just some minor things. Okay, Vandal Savage is like an Egyptian immortal, right? And he has like the whitest daughter ever. Like, I don't know how that makes sense in any way whatsoever. Like, why is his daughter white when he's obviously like a person of color? So that really, honestly, that really took me out of it. I mean, it's cool having the character, but it takes me out when it's like, obviously that's not your daughter. That girl's white as hell, you know? So, there was that, and just probably my biggest gripe with the episode was just the way that when Kendra was confronting Vandal Savage, and honestly, when one of her better fight scenes of the show so far, when she was kicking Vandal Savage's ass, I like that scene a lot. But then the whole thing with like when we see like Savage use Carter, or at least his future version, and he manipulates him and like make sure that he doesn't remember who he is or his past lives or anything, and Kendra's all torn, and Rip tries to tell her like, hey, like, you know, it's either save Carter or save my family, and Kendra makes a selfish decision to save a Carter that she really doesn't know, a Carter that is a future Carter who's not even from her timeline. And it's the way that whole bit was handled. I thought it was really poor writing on the writer's part. And it felt just a little too out of character for me and Kendra, because Kendra, like, I feel like the writers sometimes don't know what to do with Kendra, but it's like, she's Hawk Girl. Like, I would expect her to actually be Hawk Girl and make these cool, I don't know, have these cool fight scenes and make great decisions. I understand she's one of the more flawed characters, and I guess in that way she's one of the more realistic characters from the show, but at the same time, it just, I didn't like how they handled that bit from the episode. That was just something that bothered me personally. But one of the cooler things I thought that this episode had, too, was, you know, with Kendra and her being, you know, Hawk Girl and having all these lives and stuff, we do get to see more of her past. Like, especially recently in the last few episodes, we've been seeing more of, you know, her and Carter's history, and then her history with Carter and then Aldous. And in this episode, we got to see, you know, Carter and Kendra in the 1940s. And we see that's where, you know, or Kendra gets the mace, or she's like the mace, from Carter. And it's cool seeing the actor who plays Carter again. I mentioned in the past, actually, I'm growing up, for whatever reason, I'm liking the actor more, even though he's not really in the show, not saying a whole lot of lines. But I like seeing the flashbacks of Kendra. I like the history of what's going on between her and Carter. But yeah, it's just the way that Kendra's been handled as Kendra Saunders. That's where I think some of the errors in her as a character kind of lie. Honestly, with that being said, I think that's really the only problems I have with the episode itself. Just that, and just the scale of what's going on. It just feels like, you know, Vandal Savage is taking over the world. But like, you feel like you see when he's giving that speech, you see like all like his soldiers and stuff, and it feels like it's like really like you take over the whole world with like that many soldiers. I mean, I know it's a CW, and I know they only have like a certain amount of money for their budget, but it's like, come on, dude, like give at least some sense of actual like what's going on in the world. Like, that's just something that, I know it's a budgetary thing and it's on a network, so they don't have the budget to obviously show what's going on in the entire world and all that kind of stuff. So that's where, like, scale wise, it just, I know I said I was done with negatives, but here I am again. But okay, that aside, I actually I really liked what they did with Rip's character in this episode when we find out in the beginning of the episode that Rip has gone to this time period in the past to try to save his family. I did like him doing that and explaining that to us as an audience that, like, like time keeps trying to kill his family, like no matter what he does, he's been there multiple times. And I like that revelation of that, like he has tried before, and it took him like finding the team to really be able to have confidence to be able to do it again. And I think one of the best things about this episode was the fight between Ray and that gigantic Leviathan robot. That was really cool, and seeing Ray like grow like that, and in essence having him almost become like Giant Man from Marvel. I thought that was kind of funny considering like Marvel's Civil War is coming out here in a couple weeks, and Ant-Man / Giant Man is a character in that movie. So I thought that was kind of funny that they did that. It was so close to Civil War. That, and like I mentioned earlier, I like the fight scene between Kendra and Vandal Savage. It showed like Kendra is a badass, like especially with that mace. Because I feel like we haven't gotten enough of Hawk Girl in this show. We've gotten more I think too much of Kendra. Because even if you look at like the Justice League cartoon, like there was so much. I mean that show, that version of the character was more Hawk Girl than it was, Shira Saunders or Kendra Saunders or whoever she ended up being. I wish there was more Hawk Girl. There's more badassery to Kendra Saunders, and I feel like the writers still don't always know what to do with her. So that's where, like, me as a fan, I'm a little disappointed sometimes. And the fight scenes in this episode in general, I actually really enjoyed. Like, I don't know, like this episode, like again, I liked it a lot, and honestly, I think it's gonna. I don't know. Sorry, that was my phone. If you heard that noise, but yeah, I mean, there again, not too much to this episode. It's really setting up for what's coming up for the rest of the season. We still have 3 episodes left, and honestly, I feel like this show should have been like a 13 episode season. Like, they're really dragging it out. That's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just like episodes like this where it's like the scale doesn't feel like it's there. There are certain things that aren't there, but I mean, I'm still excited for the rest of the season. I mean, this show has had a bit of a rocky start. Hopefully, second season's better. But it's its first season, and again, while I have my fun with it, it has its problems, but I still enjoy watching the show. So with that being said, that's going to be it. So if you guys like what you see here, go ahead and hit subscribe below. I do review Flash as well on Tuesdays, obviously Legend of Tomorrow on Thursdays, and I do a bunch of trailer reviews and movie reviews all up on my channel for a bunch of different superhero movies and shows. So yeah, that's going to be it. So until next time, guys, have a good one.